I feel paralyzed.
Hey guys, this is Trispec. Today we are going to talk about a deck that a friend of mine calls Harpy Goons. I think some people call it like Divine Harpy Dragunity deck something. His deck is somewhat unique, and I know him pretty well. I know he didn't net deck it, so we're going to talk to him. The beginning of this video has the deck list, so you can just look at that and leave if you want to. The rest of the video will focus on me asking him a couple questions about how he built the deck, and the last about half the video is talking about what kind of combos you can do. So here we go. Alright, so this deck is called Harpy Goons, and I hate it. But it's actually a pretty good deck. Alright, so the deck list is Blackwing Zephyros the Elite, Dragooning Arma Mistletoe, 2 Ducks, 2 Phalanx, 3 Harpy Channeler, 3 Harpy Dancer, 3 Harpy Queen, 1 Fed Dragon, 1 Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon, 1 Tempest, then 1 Divine Wind of the Mist Valley, 1 Foolish Burial, 2 Lance, 3 Harpy's Hunting Ground, 3 Hysteric Sign, 2 Soul Charge, 2 Swallow's Nest, Curcio the Forbidden Spell at 2, 2 Divine Wrath, 2 Hysteric Party, and 2 Royal Decree. The extra deck is Crimson Blader, Dragoony Knight Gatorge, Dragoony Knight Vadrion at 2, 1 Scrap Dragon, 1 Stardust, 1 Vulcan the Divine, 1 Constellar M7, whatever his middle name is, Hieratic Dragon King of Atum, 1 Mecha Phantom Beast Dracosac, 1 Big Eye, 1 Photon Strike Bouncer, 2 Lightning Chidori, and 1 Abyss Dweller. For side deck, it's Light Imprisoning Mirror, Shadow Imprisoning Mirror, 2 Debunk, and both those mirrors were at 2, 1 Macrocosmos, 1 Soul Release, 1 System Down, 2 Swift Scarecrow, 2 Max C, and 2 Effect Veiler. And I'm here with the creator of this deck. My first question, how well do Harpy's Hunting Grounds replace Mystical Space Typhoon in this deck?
They replace it really well because they're pretty much a target. But what it does is, it makes it a 1-for-1 become a +1, +2, +3, especially with Swallow's Nest, because whenever they try to do anything to your monsters, you Swallow Nest out and you can hit potentially 3 cards. So, and it's all chainable. Everything resolves. One thing that happened, it happens a couple times, is you play Harpy Hunting Ground, you play the Dancer, and then they'll do something like, okay, well, I'll MST the Harpy Hunting Ground, after the Dancer has already been summoned and the Harpy Hunting Ground is already established on the field. Then you Swallow's Nest out, get rid of this Dancer, replace it with another Dancer or your Chandler if you really want to, and then you get to pop a second card before your Harpy Hunting Ground goes away. So you get right there, it's like a 2-for-2, but then you're recruiting from the deck and getting rid of your opponent's resources. So,
do any Harpy's decks you've seen run Mystical Space Typhoons, or most of them just dead set on Harpy's Hunting Ground?
The ones that I've seen before people stop posting them, they always ran it at 2, and they always ran Hunting Ground at 1 or 2. They never ran it at 3. I don't know why.
Do you ever really care if you have to like pop Hunting Ground with Hunting Ground's effect?
Sometimes it hurts. It hurts big time, but with Hysteric Sign, sometimes it doesn't really matter. But yes, it does. It does suck that you have to pop it sometimes, but you have to play around it if you can. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. So
that's fair. Curse Seal, honestly, has not seen play in years. Is that your idea? Did you watch someone, they did it and you just kind of went with it, or is that unique to you?
As far as I know, nobody has been running it in Harpies. Everyone has been running Magical Hats, are just Divine Wind of the not Divine Wind, Phoenix Wing Wind Blast. I haven't seen any Harpy deck put Curse Seal the Forbidden Spell in my actual deck. my real life deck, I only run one soul charge and run the two curse seals over that because it's better, but it's a bad top deck at the same time. So if you run this, know that you can have bad top deck, which is why you run so many different spells. And the thing about curse seal, I mean, this deck is because you have the recruitability with Harpy Hunting Ground. So so if you have a queen in hand, you can always add queen with dirge and pitch whatever useless dragon you may have in your hand, which is probably your Tempest or your Harpy pet dragon, or maybe even your Zephyros is in your hand. You add it. You add the dirge. You add the queen with the dirge effect. Pitch whatever else you need. Pitch the queen. Add the Harpy Hunting Ground, and there you go. You have your first seal, the forbidden spell. But this -2 essentially can become a +1 if you have a Hysteric Sign in your hand. You get a stop there card, make it so they can potentially draw 2 dead cards if you hit like the Soul Charge or the MSTs or whatever they might run at 3. The best one they hit is the Tankings, and then you get at the end of the turn you'll get 3 different cards to your hand. So Sign is kind of broken in that aspect with this with Curse Seals.
And so the best cards to use Curse Seal against are pretty much anything they might run at 3, or if you're going in someone they have 3 MSTs but they also have 3 10 keys, will you save the Curse Seal for the 10 key?
I will try. I'll try, but if someone gets lucky and hits the Curse Seal with the MST, then you just activate it, pitch, and then like I said, if they have 3 MSTs in their hand, then 2 of them are dead. That means you effectively ruined 50% of their plays. So, but yes, I'll try to save it for the tanky. The Soul Charge, the Artifact Sanctum, I think that's what it is, the spell card. What other one is there? Like I was just playing against Monarchs, you save it for the enemy controller or the Soul Exchange. So you just have to know what to hit. But it's never bad to hit the MSTs.
And you have a lot of twofers in your side deck. What are the probably 2 hardest matchups for you?
The 2 hardest, like the hardest one for sure right now is Hat, because Dragunities and Harpies have a problem with go first set 5, or actually now it'll be go first set 4. Yeah, so Hat's probably the biggest one. It just the back row is what kills you, which is why you run the decrees. The second matchup, hard to believe with Curse still the forbidden spell in it, but it's Prophecies. Prophecies, if you don't draw your key cards like your Divine Wrath, your Hysteric Signs and stuff, Prophecy will kind of overtake this deck. I just played it at my locals. Like I said, I was running it at 3. I managed to hit the Faith and the Tower, and because he was just able to special summon his big monsters and blow up my back row, he just wiped me out. So was my only loss this past locals. So
in your side deck, what are, I guess, the 2, it doesn't have to be like 2 debunk, but the 2 different cards you side in most?
The cards I side in the most is probably the debunk and the Soul Release.
And for debunk, you don't think it might be worth just running over something?
You mean like
in the
deck?
main deck? Yeah.
Probably not, because so like if you run into Constellars, that debunk's pretty useless. Or if you run into Evil Swarms, if you run into any rogue, it's pretty bad. But the deck can still beat Mermills without debunks. It could still beat other decks without debunks. It's just that the debunks are just a help, because if you're going first, you want to have that Foolish Burial in your turn 0 hand. you want to have your Swallow's Nest if you dead draw a Dragunity Ducks, or if you dead draw a Zephyros, because then you can get to your Harpy Chandler faster. But whenever you do side out, I always side out one Swallow's Nest, one Foolish Burial, and one Hysteric Party, depending on what the matchup is. But I hardly ever side out the Will Decrease.
I see. And your extra deck seems pretty standard. Not too much high level thinking there. So I guess from here we'll go to an unranked match and we'll kind of show a couple of the more key combos in the deck. So we'll be right back. All right. So as you can see, I'm not playing with the deck. I'm gonna have him run through a couple combos. They probably assume things like you don't get veiled. Maxi, I guess, wouldn't really matter in breaking a combo, things like that. But we'll let him explain his process.
All right then. This is the first combo that can get you a good setup. There's another way to do that, and we'll do it next, but this will be it. So you go play the Chandler, send that to the grave. It doesn't really matter what Harpy card it is as long as it's a Harpy card. So summon your Dancer. That's the key. Dancer is the key in this deck. It's the only thing that makes this deck run together. All right, so you activate her effect and jump that to hand. Oh wait, no, actually, before you want to do that, you want to activate this card's effect. To the grave, these two actually, and then you want to add your Arm Mistletoe to hand. Then you're going to activate this card. You go to hand, summon, then he gets his effect, and he'll equip, and then you'll special summon that, and then you send this to the grave. She'll summon, and then you'll do that. I always get rid of the Dancer first because it's the one that doesn't really matter at this point. And then you summon, and then overlay. Oh, sorry. You summon, you activate his effect to pitch the Zephyros, because the Zephyros has to go to the grave. To the grave. Overlay. Special summon your Attune. Doesn't matter what position you're going to put it in. It's not going to be there very long. Activate his effect. Special summon the Red Eyes in defense. Jaden, can you turn that down? Activate his effect. And activate his effect. Again. You can either get you can either get your second Phalanx to the grave, so you have a less chance of dead drawing it, or you can what I'll usually do is I'll get the Zephyr, the other ducks to the grave, to the hand, and then pitch the Chandler. And then you pay the 400, and then bounce for Zephyros. And then you banish, and you special summon, and you go right into the Phalanx. And then you're gonna basically tune these two out and special summon the two Vajrayanas. And then you're gonna tune out your Dirge. The Dirge is most important because then you can keep adding stuff to your hand. For your Stardust, and then you overlay these two, and you will special summon out your Photon Strike Bouncer, and then that's the combo. It's always nice to have something like this to stop their traps. And there's a second combo that we'll get into and redo. I'll put all my hand and I'll show you what that combo does. So we'll be back, right, AJ?
Yeah, we will. All right, so now combo 2 in the Harpy Goon deck.
Yeah. This one is just the Divine Wind combo. All you really need is the 5 cards in your hand, and the 6th card is just, If it's something really good, that's amazing. If not, then whatever. Um, so first of all, you're gonna. This is the only harpy you really need in your hand, and you get. But you do need. I mean, this is the only one that you need a Chandler, and you need two other harpies. It doesn't really matter what it is. So then you're gonna pitch to grave, and then you're gonna special summon the dancer, and then play the divine wind, and then you're gonna um, activate the effect to bounce this one to hand, summon out this one. They have to be a level 4. It can't be another Chandler, or it'll screw everything up. And then you activate your winds effect, and you special summon out your phalanx and defense, just in case someone stops anything. I always hit the Chandler. And then you're just basically gonna special summon both of these. Oh, actually not both of these. Sorry. You're gonna special summon him, and then first thing you're gonna do again is you're gonna get that Zephyros to the grave. Zephyros to the grave, and then overlay for the attune. You always get rid of the dirge. You never leave dirge in there. That it ruins the combo. So this one, ideally, you want to have red eyes in your hand. It's the only time you actually want to have the red eyes in your hand. I mean, you can still do the combo without, but you're not gonna have the three boss monsters set up. Basically, the Triforce is basically what it is. Big power beater, protection, and then more protection. It's like having two condoms. But this is the only reason why you want to have it, because you banish him, and you special summon, and then you activate the effect of the Tempest, and you get the Messeltane to your hand. Then you activate Red Eyes again, and it's just basically going to be your repetition again. You can either add the ducks to your hand, or you can send the phalanx, or you can even just, add something else. Ideally, if you had a cursed seal in your hand at this point, instead of I just put a royal decree in my hand, but if you had a cursed seal, I would add the Harpy Queen. That way you can pitch it, and then if they try to do anything tanky or anything, then you would have an answer to it. But I would add the ducks to hand, and then pitch the Chandler. And then again, you're going to pay the 4. You're going to bounce this card to your hand. You summon that Zephyros. And you're going to banish again. Special summon. Special summon. And then I always do this first, just in case somebody.
Alright. Unfortunately, our call disconnected, but what would have happened is you would special summon Phalanx with Vadriana, and you would send Phalanx to the grave and summon Arma Mistletoe. You would use him to special summon the Phalanx back, or I guess use the Phalanx itself, and you would go for Stardust and Bouncer, so you would end with approximately the same cards you did last time. So, sorry about that. You kind of saw the ending in the last part of the first combo. I guess we're okay. As always, you can check out our channel to see our site, Facebook, Twitter. If you like our stuff, please subscribe, and hope to see you next time.